Chappelle came over to do the Liverpool Arena with Chris Rock. They did like a double headliner show. And the night before it, Chappelle dropped in to Hot Water Comedy Club and did like 3 hours on stage with Jeff Ross and had security stood. Like, you're the first guest we've had on who's brought an Eastern European security guard with him. Chappelle had like 6 of them, and they were stood in the aisles of the comedy club. There's people who just couldn't see the show because he's just got people now with him stood around the stage. Afterwards, we had a chat with him and stuff, and he goes, I want to go and get some Chinese food. Where can I go? I was like, I'll take you down the road. And he goes, well, I'll meet you there. I'm going to get in the car. And we were like, oh, he's just fucking us off and going home. He went to the Chinese, but he was like, I can't walk the streets at the minute because I'm worried that I'm going to get tackled with a knife again because of the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, it does shake up. Well, I think he does a whole lot of routines now in his new show about how bodyguards are kind of useless. like they clean up the mess. Because I had a couple. I had 2 incidents in Britain. This one was actually much worse than the Comedy Store one. But I'd done some, it was the height of the Iraq War. I think Bush was in government. I may have done some jokes about the Iraq War. I don't know, but there was some soldier who had just come back who was a little... And he fucking... I was just standing at the bar talking to another comedian. I wasn't doing anything. And I was grabbed by the back of the hair and he smashed my head into a table and I fractured just my skull here in my nose because it was hit here, but that's the softest part. So above the bridge of the nose.
Like, do it on stage, mate.
Do it on stage.
No one's recording.
Yeah, but I went down and God bless the British, man, because I was on a work permit. I wasn't paying much taxes, right? I was very, and Jim Jefferies is my real name. My real last name is Nugent, just the stagey thing, when you're young, right? And I went into hospital for 5 days and the NHS never asked my real name.
Don't need to.
Never asked my real name. Fucking gave me morphine. And fucking I was there for 5 days and then I just sort of left like Basil Fawlty with the bandage still around my fucking head.
What a great healthcare system we've got.
I love the
We don't need to know who you are, just have some fucking heroin.
We'll even heal immigrants. We're so good like that.
I showed up at the Reading Festival as my next gig with a fucking bandage around my head. Clearly with some still brain damage, like I was still a bit off.
Teddy
I was on a lot of pills. I got a Clee story. I'm telling it on this tour at the moment. When does this come out, this podcast?
Tomorrow and Monday. So tomorrow for our Patreons and Monday publicly.
We've only got 2 more gigs to sort of plug. The tour is sold out. We've got an extra show in Manchester. We had an extra show in London. So if you want to, in Manchester or London, and there's a few tickets left in Birmingham, but they'll go. So during COVID, I'll tell a very abridged version of this, but during COVID, I get a phone call from Rob Schneider. And Rob Schneider was writing a movie with this Australian comic called Monty Franklin. And it was set in Australia, and he wanted me to put some sort of Australian jokes or whatever into this script. And he says, can you come and write this movie with me? And he goes, I'll give you additional credit for jokes. Or like, I didn't write the story, And so I was like, my wife's pregnant. We're at the height of COVID. I don't want to leave the house because she's worried, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, well, I'm living with John Cleese in a house in Phoenix, and he's writing the movie with us because John Cleese is going to be in the film. And so I'm like, I want to live in a house with John Cleese and write jokes with a guy from Monty Python. So fuck yes. I just left my wife like... I just said, just stay in the house and I'll Postmate your food or something. You'll be fine. And I drove out to Phoenix and I lived with like John Cleese and Rob Schneider for a couple of weeks.
That's insane.
And it was me, Deuce Bigelow and Basil Fawlty fucking swimming around in a pool every day. We'd swim and we'd hear all these stories about fucking how he wrote the Dead Parrot sketch and all this type of stuff. But anyway, right at the end of it, Rob's mother passed. This is a very abridged version. Rob's mother passed away. So then for a while, and then Monty went... For a while, it was just me, Monty, John Cleese's daughter, Camilla, and in this house. And then I went to get a COVID test before I came. And then I came back and John, we've been doing this 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle together. And I said to John, I got to go. And he goes,
That's how ridiculous
and
that
he's
sentence
like,
is.
he's like, how about if it was of a Hungarian castle that John thinks he performed in once? Right? and so we were like, he was like, do you want to finish this jigsaw? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll fucking give it a go, you know. And so we're doing it. And then while I'm doing that, I get a text and it says, you have COVID. And I'm sitting across from my 82-year-old unvaccinated hero.
That jigsaw's not going to finish
And
itself.
I just sat there for minutes and he's going, and then Chapman didn't want the parrot to be dead and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell, I've just killed John Cleese. But it turned out it was a fucking false positive. And that back in those days, they said there was false negatives, but there was no false positives. And the drive from, you know, Phoenix to Los Angeles is 6 hours, but the only thing between it is desert and butt-fuck towns. And every single little butt-fuck town I went through, I stopped off and got another COVID, and I was clean. So by the time I got back to the wire.
There was definitely false positives in the end because kids in Liverpool were pouring Fanta on the tests because that came up positive to get days off school. Fanta would give you a positive test,
Orange flavoured.
And trust Scouse kids to figure that out.
Fair,
Nothing, Dr. Pepper, nothing. Coke, nothing. I've got it.